great. Here we have a rabbi. I'm going to adjust this mic a little. You should be back on. Rabbi, are you ready? Rabbi, are you ready? Shabbat Shalom. I'm going to invite everyone who's here in our sanctuary, our outdoor sanctuary here at Temple Isaiah, to find the seat with your name on it. Shabbat Shalom and welcome. Whether you're joining us here in person or whether you're in our virtual Zoom sanctuary, we welcome everyone. We open with words that the psalmist wrote, Hinei ma tov, how good and how pleasant it is indeed to be together on this beautiful Shabbat morning as we welcome Walter as a bar mitzvah. Hinei ma tov u'manayim shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tov u'manayim שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד, הנה מה טוב ומה נעים. שבת אחים גם יחד. Shabbat Shalom.
Wonderful it is to be here this morning. Welcome to all of those who are here in person in this beautiful space. Welcome to those who are joining virtually, also in a virtually beautiful space. What makes this space beautiful, of course, is not just the setting, but the people in it. And we're very, very grateful to have all of your energies, all of your goodwill, all of your Shabbat spirit as we enter into this service and our Mitzvah ceremony for Walter. A few reminders. If you're in person, we ask you to turn off all your devices, or at least put them in airplane mode. If you're on Zoom, don't turn off your device. Please, if you're in person, please keep your masks on for the safety of all members present. And should we leave you after some point in the service, step into the that way, and the documents are signed so we'll find the last name for Saturday in the morning. For those who don't know, I'm Rabbi Lafayette.
I'm Cantor Korn, and Daniel Lockhart accompanies us on the piano.
As we begin our service, we present Walter. Walter will receive his colleague. This is the traditional prayer shawl of the Jewish people that one wears when one becomes Jewish adult. The significance is not in the garment so much as it is in the fringes, 4 fringes on each side, the knots and twined together symbolize the number 613. The traditional number of mitzvot, sacred practices in Judaism. Don't worry, no one does all of them. But when you wear this, you signify that you are obligated to be curious, to practice what is meaningful, keep learning and growing in the Jewish faith. We invite Walter and his parents, Rachel and Gabby, to present to him with some words of blessing and pardon.
Yeah. Walter, good morning. It is so fantastic to be here virtually and in person. We're lucky with all of these people who are so special to us. Daddy put me in charge of doing the whole speaking part of this, so that's what I'm doing. So I think to start with, obviously, this was not the day that we envisioned when we picked this date a few years ago, but for those of you who don't know, it is Walter's 13th birthday, in addition to being his bar mitzvah. And so as we looked at all of the pandemic-related changes that we could make, we did feel like this was a special day and that we wanted to keep it, and that's what we did. So happy birthday! And we want to acknowledge how amazing it is that you did all of the preparation, the learning, the practicing. Everything was virtual, and you were committed to it, and you really stuck with it, and we didn't really have to talk about reminding you to practice or, going onto Zooms with the cantor and the rabbi, and we are so proud of you. That was not easy. It's really, I think all of us can say that it's really hard to do things virtually. And we're just so proud of you for doing that and sticking with it. And in so many ways, we're just in awe of who you are. You're funny, you're empathetic, you are playful and love to play in every way possible, whether it's sports, or video games or just hanging out and having a good time. And I think everybody who meets you will say that about you. And you're interested in so many different things. And even this year when it threw you a curveball and you couldn't play lacrosse, you found tennis. And I think some of the people who live near us would say that you've ridden your bike a lot, which is true. So we hope that this experience of going through the pandemic will remind you to look for happiness and joy and hope even when things are hard, and to, just to remember that you can push through the pain and that there's light on the other side. And sometimes that means that you might even laugh at your dad's bad jokes, which, for those of you who don't know, Brad's been telling bad dad jokes for about an hour every night during this entire pandemic. So we won't subject you to that. But as you continue your journey into adulthood, we hope that your curiosity, humor, care for others, and joy for life stay with you. We hope that you're surrounded by friends and family and others who care for you and understand you throughout your life. We hope your life brings you much fulfillment and joy. We hope that you always maintain your sense of calm and humor to help you through the difficult times, and that you always remember this day and your Jewish ancestors who came before you and made it possible for you to stand here today with pride in becoming a bar mitzvah. We wish that your life will be filled with love and peace, and that God smiles upon you always, bathes you in sunlight, and embraces you with love. We're so proud of you. Awesome. Now do we do them? Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu mitzvotav, v'tzivanu v'mitateh hatuti.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu, v'kiyemanu, v'higiyanu, lazman hazeh.
Blessed are you, Adonai, God, sovereign of the universe, for giving us life, sustaining us, and enabling us to reach this very moment. Together we say, Amen.
Amen.
And Father, happy birthday. We continue with Hatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadol v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yiruteh ve'amlich malhuteh, b'chayachon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'yizman kariv, ve'imeru, Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevorach, le'olam u'lomei almayach, yitbarach. Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'yitramam ve'yitnaseh ve'yitadar ve'yitalev ve'yitalo shemei dekudashah brichu le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata tishbechata v'nechemata da'amin ran be'alma ve'imeru. Amen.
Amen.
Please rise as you're able as we turn to Baruch Hu on the next page.
Walter will face the Baruch Hu et Adonai, Hamevorach. Baruch
Who are wearing a talit, there's a custom, should you choose to participate, to gather all of the four tzitzit, these four fringes, in one hand, bringing together symbolically all of the ways of thinking about and practicing Judaism. Perhaps we might even stretch it so far as to say symbolizing unity out of diversity generally, that we bring together all of the ways of being human, all the ways of being a part of this universe. and say, underneath all of this wonderful diversity, there's something the same. There's some essential unity in the universe, which we call God as we recite the Shema, which declares God's unity.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated. We continue chanting Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך, והיו הדברים כאלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וקרבתם על מזיזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
The next words in this service are quoted from the ancient Israelites who shouted them in wonder as they crossed the Red Sea that had been miraculously parted by God as they tried to escape from the Egyptians. It's a moment of awe and a moment of gratitude at leaving a previous stage and moving into a brave new wilderness where they hope to one day reach the promised land. So it's appropriate, Walter, on this day of your bar mitzvah, as you are sort of moving from one status to another status in the Jewish community, that we really sing this with the sense of awe and gratitude and wonder. And it's a moment that marks for you as well a new freedom and also a new responsibility as you will continue to grapple with how to live Judaism in a way that has meaning and integrity for you. So are you ready for that freedom and that responsibility?
Yes.
Wonderful. Let us sing with that same sense of conviction.
Yehuda veYisrael, Go Aleinu, Adonai Tzevaot.
Please rise as you're able for these next series of prayers that collectively are called the Amidah, the standing prayer, a series of importance to the ancient rabbis that declare our praise to the creator of everything and ultimately lead us into a place where we'll then offer our own private silent prayers. So you could consider these as using the words of tradition to warm our hearts up so then we can pray our own prayers.
Adonai sefer tiftach ufia gitehiatefa. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elokei avoteinu ve'imotenu, Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, Elokei Sarah, Elokei Rivka, Elokei Rachel, Elokei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'yimechot, U'mevii Geulah Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'achava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah. Hagibor Adonai, Mechaye Hakol Ata, Rav Lehoshia, Morid Ata, Mechakel Chayim Bechesed, Mechaye Hakol Berachamim Ramim, Somech Noflim Verofech Olim, Umatzir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato, Leishenei Afar, Michamocha Ba'urot, Umidom Melach, Melech Memiz, Umechayem, Umatziach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atav l'mchayot alko, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמעתי שמעותו בשמי מרום, כך כתוב היה נביאך, וקרא זה אל זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר, אדירנו, אדוני, אדוננו, מאדיר שמך בכל הארץ. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ורחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון לדור ודור. להקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. We move now into a moment of private silent prayer, which can simply be an invitation to take one of these three words and spend some time answering it for yourself. Thank you. What am I thankful for? Help. What do I need help with right now? And wow, what is amazing? What is wonderful? What makes me go, wow?
Shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imeru, amen. Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, Shalom, Yahaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahaseh Shalom, Yahaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yahaseh Shalom, Yahaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Ya'aseh shalom, Ya'aseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Walter so beautifully led us in our prayers, taking on this journey of worship, of praise, of self-reflection. And it has built now to this point, truly the pinnacle of our service, the Torah service, when the Torah scroll will come out of the ark, will eventually be in Walter's arms, and he will chant from it, he will teach from it, and he will show how he is living his life according to the lessons of Torah. So I invite now his family, Bradley, Rachel, Sabrina, and Walter, to come to our bima. Walter, in just a moment, as you know, no surprises I told you today. As you know, the Torah is going to reach your arms. And the reason we do this ritual is several-fold. One is for you to understand that it is not happenstance that Torah landed here today. Torah is here today because the members of your family who are standing here today, your parents and your sister who also became a bat mitzvah here at Temple Isaiah, have received Torah from the generations that came before them. And if you look even beyond where your dad is standing, you imagine this line goes back all the way to when we received Torah at Mount Sinai. What a journey this Torah has been on. And somehow we like to think that somehow even back then they knew that today a young man named Walter Kane would be taking Torah in his arms. And so it is with great responsibility that you take this Torah on. And you've held the Torah. You know that the Torah is a little bit heavy. And that's also symbolic of the responsibility we're asking of you today. That it is a little bit heavy. We are putting this on your shoulders, literally and figuratively today. But of course, it is our hope and our dream that this Torah will stay alive for generations to come. That for generations after this, there will be people looking back and perhaps not totally knowing, but understanding that today you became bar mitzvah to ensure that Torah would stay alive for generations to come. So I'll invite the congregation to please rise. And Bradley, I will invite you to take the Torah out of the ark. You can leave that there for right now. And we will pass it through the generations of your family, Walter. We are gifts and we are blessings. We are history in song. We are hope and we are healing. We are learning to be strong. Ledor vador nagid god lecha. Ledor vador we protect this chain from generation to generation. Ledor vador these lips will praise your name. And Walter, with the Torah scroll in your arms, we invite you now to chant the Shema in the Torah service.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shema.
Sabrina, I'll invite you to close the ark, and then I'll invite Walter and his family to prepare the table and undress the Torah for the Torah reading. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu lehar kodsho. Please be seated.
Not staying.
Yeah, just roll it over the top.
Our Torah portion today is the double portion of Tazria Mitzorah in the book of Leviticus. It's everyone's favorite. Within it has a number of descriptions around bodily functions, some of them natural, some of them abnormal, and it's not worth going into too much technical detail with you today, but trust that it's right at the heart of what our Torah is about. And I mean that slightly flippantly, but also that there's actually some profound teachings in here. And Walter in his Devar Torah is going to lift up one of them in a really, really powerful way later. So we're excited to hear both the words of Hebrew that you're going to chant for us, Walter, and the lessons that you're going to derive from it.
So for the first Aliyah, we're going to turn our attention to our Zoom screen, and we're going to spotlight Walter's aunt, Abigail Zenner. And I think, Abigail, you are on the screen. So we'll invite you now to chant the blessing before the Torah reading.
Baruch hu et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach leolam vahed.
Baruch at Adonai hamvarach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bachar banu mikol hamim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe ve'el Acharon lemor. Ki tavo'u el eretz Canaan asher ani noten lachem la'achuzah v'natati nega sara'at beveit eretz achuzatem uva asher lo habayit v'higid lakohen lemor kehenega nira li babayit.
And Abigail will invite you to chant the blessing after.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tuchenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Yasher Koach, and so glad, even though you are far, that you can join us here and be present for this wonderful simcha. For the next aliyah, we call it Walter's sister Sabrina. Talmud, Sima bat Rachel v'Yitzchak Baruch la'aliyah LaTorah.
Baruchu et Adonai hamvorach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'tziva hakohen ufinu et chabayit. V'terem yavo hakohen lirot et hanega v'lo yitma kol asher babayit. Ve'ahar ken yavo hakohen lirot et chabayit. Ve'ra'a et hanega v'hinei hanega b'kirot chabayit sheka'arurot yirakrakot o adamdamot umar'echem shafal min hakir ve'atza hakohen min hakir et min habahayit el petach habayit v'hiskir et chabayit shavat yamim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And now for the third aliyah, we call up Walter's parents, Rachel and Bradley. Ya'amdu Rachel bat Ahava v'Naftali v'Yitzchak Baruch ben Avraham v'Shena la'aliyah LaTorah.
Baruch et Adonai hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'shav hakohen bayom hashvi'i v'ra'a v'hinei pasa hanega v'kirot chabayit v'tziva hakohen v'hilitzu et ha'avanim asher bahen hanaga v'hishlihu etan el mechutz la'ir el makom tameh ve'et habayit yaksia mibayit saviv v'shafechu et ha'afar asher hiksu el mechutz la'ir el makom tameh ve'lakehu avanim
אחרת והביאו אל תחת האבנים ועפר אחר היכה בתוך את הבית.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
And then Mom, you're closing this. Mom.
Mom and Dad, you're going to stay right there because we want you to be present as Walter is called for the very first time as a bar mitzvah before this Torah and this holy congregation. Yamor, 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 Habachur bar ha-mitzvah, Naftali ben Yitzchak Baruch v'Rachel ali ala Torah, Chazak.
Baruch hu et Adonai hambarach.
Baruch Adonai hambarach le'olam ha'ed.
Baruch Adonai hambarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai melech ha'olam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Ve'im yashuv hanega v'farach בבית אחר הילט את האבנים ואחרי הכסות את הבית ואחרי התהלך ובא הכהן וראה והנה פסע הנגח בבית צרעת ממארת היא בבית Tamei hu venatat et habayit et avonav ve'et etzav ve'et kol avar habayit v'chotzi el makom el michut la'ir el makom tamei. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
We take a moment now to offer a prayer, a Misha Berach prayer for healing for all those who are in need, remembering in particular all those who are ill with COVID-19 and anyone else who is in need of healing of body, of mind, of spirit.
I invite now Bradley and Rachel and Sabrina to join us back on the bima as we prepare to address the Torah, and return the Torah to the ark. I invite the congregation to please rise. Shlosha devarim ha'olam omed. Shlosha devarim ha'olam omed. Etz chaim hi lamachazikim ba Please close the ark. Please be seated.
Alright, no.
Wait till your parents sit down.
What?
Wait till your family sits down.
Okay. My Torah portion talks about a skin disease called Shabbat. The discussion goes through the ritual of how you cleanse yourself of it. First, you are removed from the camp and quarantined. At some point, the Shabbat goes away. In order to return to the camp and connect with God, a priest helps you perform a ritual with certain objects like cedarwood, crimson stuff, hyssop, 2 live clean birds, and more. Ritual is something specific you do to mark a moment, perhaps in order to remember it or to transform yourself. Ritual has meaning through several different parts: content, frequency, and intensity. Content is the items that go into the ritual and their use in the ritual. Frequency is how regularly you perform the ritual, from daily to once in a lifetime. And intensity is how much effort you put into the ritual, reaching to perform it as best as you can. The content that goes into the Shabbat ritual includes items like the cedarwood, crimson stuff, hyssop, 2 live clean birds, oils, and more. The frequency is not often, but also can be more than once in a lifetime, depending on the circumstances. The intensity requires you to perform it well, and to connect with God requires good focus. We perform rituals daily, like brushing your teeth and eating breakfast when we wake up. Less common rituals can be seeing relatives that live across the world. And some rituals are once in a lifetime, like becoming a bar or bat mitzvah. With quarantine being a factor and part of the content of cleansing from Shabbat, we also see the same in our current times of the COVID-19 pandemic. We can see the kicking out of the camp as putting yourself into isolation or quarantine. In the 2-week span of isolation, a lot can change in your daily ritual. Unlike Shabbat, we can't ask God to remove COVID-19 from our bodies, but we can trust that our bodies will remove it in the 2-week quarantine. Ritual is important to make things feel natural for daily life. For example, when we started putting on masks at the beginning of the pandemic and thinking so much of it, to now putting one on and feeling it was always this way. Ritual is also important to make things feel rare and exciting or important. The Shabbat ritual is one of these rare and important rituals. Getting a vaccine is in a way a special ritual. Some people after getting a vaccine have had a safe celebration. What are other ways you can mark the moment of getting a vaccine? Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Walter, you have taken on so many roles today. You have acted as rabbi, you have acted as cantor, you have taught us, you have prepared in such a beautiful way to show us that you understand what it means to become that responsible member in our community, that knowledgeable member. But you also know that becoming, and we all know that becoming a bar mitzvah is more than just what happens here on a Shabbat morning. Becoming a bar mitzvah is really that transformation of how you're going to live your life going forward. So in addition to all of your study and knowledge that you have acquired, you have also taken on a mitzvah project. Now, Walter's mitzvah project is a way for him to demonstrate the concept of tikkun olam, repairing this very broken world that we live in. And so he's going to share with us, in lieu of a traditional haftarah portion, he's going to share with us that message of the prophets and show how he, even at his young age, can truly make a difference in this world.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nvi'im tovim zeratzah v'divrechem hane'emarim be'emet Baruch atah Adonai chabocher b'torah Uv Moshe Avdo, Uv Yisrael Amo, Uvin V'ei Ha'emet V'tzedek. My mitzvah project is sending toys and money to kids in long-term treatment at the UCSF Benny Hoff Children's Hospitals in both Oakland and San Francisco. I chose it because it is probably really hard for the kids to go through what they do, so donating these toys I'm able to take their minds off the pain and hopefully bring a smile to their face. Not only do I want to bring a smile to their face and take their minds off the pain, but with the money donations, my plan is to make sure that all kids, teens, and infants can live a normal life. For example, one of the donations was for helping kids and teens fight addiction or helping kids get a second chance at life. I hope to have contributed to saving kids' lives and getting kids through tough times. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam sur kol halamim sadik b'chol hadarot ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer ve'oseh ha'medaber u'mekayem shekol devarach emet v'tzedek al ha'torah ve'al ha'avodah ve'al ha'ne'evi'im ve'al yom ha'shabbat chazeh Shenatatan lahanu Adonai Eloheinu likdusha v'liknuha lekavod ultifaret al hakol Adonai Eloheinu anachnu modim la umvarchim ota yitbarach shimcha b'fikol chai tamid le'olam va'ed baruch atah Adonai mekachadesh ha'shabbat.
Walter, you get to look this way now. Yasher Koach, what beautiful words you have chanted and spoken. And I want to take a moment now to offer you a blessing. When we first met and we were talking about Tazria Metzora, this portion which requires a good deal of effort to find the right message, you pretty much immediately came up with ritual. And in 5 years of working with B'nai Mitzvah students, I have never once had someone say, I want to talk about ritual. And then we researched, I learned about ritual from you. I was so struck by your thoughtfulness and your kindness, as we talked about your mitzvah project as well. And the sense that this day means something. The process here was not smooth in terms of rearranging dates and all of that, but it feels significant to mark your bar mitzvah on your birthday with a Devar Torah about ritual, really holding the power of what this moment and this process means. I want to lift up a message that you shared in your Devar Torah, because what ritual does is bridge. It can bridge from the past to the present, which is what you did in your teaching and what you've done in leading us through these ancient prayers. Bringing an ancient story about someone cast out of the camp until their strange tzara'at condition heals, and then the ritual by which they're brought back in. To think about how important ritual is marking moments of transition for those of us who have still to get a vaccine, or may have gotten a vaccine but not yet marked that with a ritual, to take that opportunity to say, this is a really important moment. Let's do something special. And what that looks like can be really creative. And I hope that this day of your bar mitzvah will also feel like a bridging ritual, not from the past to the present, but from now to the future, as you continue to find meaning in things that don't come, find meaning in difficulty, because life will bring difficulty. And the challenge for each of us is, how do we respond? How do we find meaning in it? And how do we use that moment to find the opportunities to help others, as you've done getting to this day? And to continue being curious. Find the people who are going to learn with you, ask them questions, find the people who will ask you questions. And all of us in this community at Temple Isaiah, your clergy, we have great expectations of you growing into being a leader in the Jewish people, someone who can bring out the best in all of the people around you. The cantor and I are going to offer you now the ancient words of the priestly blessing, threefold, a ritual that grounds us in this moment and makes promises for us as we move forward into the future. To never feel alone, to feel connected to what has been, to all the people around us, and to all those experiences and people we have yet to meet. I'm going to invite up your family now to join you at the bima.
יברכך אדוני וישמרך.
May God bless you and keep you.
יאר אדוני פניו אליך ויחונך.
May the light of God's countenance shine upon you, and may God be gracious with you.
יישא אדוני פניו אליך וישם לך shalom.
May you discover God's presence in your life through ritual and through spontaneity, and may you be brought that most precious of all gifts, the gift of peace. And together we say, Amen.
Amen.
Mazel tov. We move into our concluding prayers, beginning with Aleinu. I invite you to rise as you are able.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גאולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
At the end of every Jewish service, we recite the words of the mourner's Kaddish, and on days when we're also celebrating so much joyous achievements and gatherings, there's a particular poignancy as we recognize that the Jewish tradition acknowledges the wholeness of the human experience, both the wonderful pieces and the sorrowful pieces. We bring to mind our loved ones who are no longer here with us. We're remembering in particular Walter's grandfather, Walter Zinner, and Walter's aunt, Stephanie Kane. We recite these words. Yit Gadal, V'yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divra Chirute, Ve'yamlich Malchute, B'chayechon, U'vyomechon, U'v'chaye Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala U'vizman Kariv, V'imru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach, Le'alam U'lamei Almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha barichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shamaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
Oseh shalom bimromav, Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, V'yimeru, Amen.
Zichronam livracha, may their memories be for a blessing.
Walter, I'm going to invite you and your parents and your sister to come forward, and you can come and stand. Actually, this time just stand on the patio right in front of that table. We're going to sing the word Siman Tov Mazel Tov, showering you with pride and blessing and congratulations, both here and afar. We are so blessed for technology on a morning like this that allows people to join us from all over and celebrate with us. Immediately following our closing song, well, and maybe just a minute or two after, we will don't log off Zoom because Walter's family has prepared a little tribute video. And for those who are present, we can move closer to the television. We'll ask that you do your best to maintain social distance, even as we gather on that half so that you can also enjoy the video. Together, Walter, we say Mazal Tov. Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Siman Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Siman Tov, Yahelanu. Yahelanu, Yahelanu, Olecho Yisrael. Yahelanu, Yahelanu, Olecho Yisrael. Yahelanu, Yahelanu, Olecho Yisrael. Yahelanu, Yahelanu, Olecho Yisrael. Mazel Tov and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.